Chapter 11. Hearing the conversation between Shen Lang and boss Lin, Tian Zianji was both shocked and pleasantly surprised. Although his foster father, Tian Heng, had promised Shen Lang, he didn't have much hope in his heart. It was just a gamble. Anyway, he had promised the Zhu family to kill Shen Lang within 3 days. However, he didn't expect that Shen Lang would actually succeed. His foster father actually got 1,000 gold coins. Of course, Tian Zianji, who was in charge of this matter, also had great credit. Amazing. I'm impressed. Tian Zianji gave Shen Lang a thumbs up. Shen Lang went to the kitchen in the backyard, closed the door, and began to make the dye. Boss Lin, wait for me for 2 hours, Shen Lang said. Okay, I'll go prepare the gold coins now, Lin Mo said. The process of making the golden dye was very simple. It was described in detail in Silk, which was published in 2001. The Silk Museum in Hangzhou also had a special experience course. The locust rice was boiled in water, and the yellow juice was boiled out. After the dregs were removed, the yellow dye came out. Then, the alum was added and the yellow color became a gorgeous and noble bright yellow. It was bright and shiny. Therefore, in less than 2 hours, Shen Lang made half a bowl of golden dye. Finally, Shen Lang put the alum and the extra locust rice in the fire and burned them completely, leaving no trace. Shen Lang pushed the door open. The owner of the splendid court, Lin Mo, and Tian Zianji immediately rushed up, their faces full of expectation. Shen Lang directly handed the half bowl of golden dye to them. Lin Mo's hands trembled slightly as he carefully looked at the new dye under the sunlight. He couldn't help but tremble. This was not only the dye, but also the lifeblood of the Lin family's rise. This golden dye is not only outstanding in color, but it also has excellent moisture fastness on silk. The color will hardly fade after dyeing. Shen Lang said, Boss Lin, have you prepared the 2,000 gold coins? Lin Mo pointed at a chest on the table. The lid was open, and it was filled with gold coins. Each gold coin weighed more than half a tael, so 1,000 gold coins weighed several dozen kilograms. 20 gold coins was a huge sum of money. After deducting the 1,000 gold coins given to Tian Heng, there was still 1,000 left. It was enough for a family to live a good life. In his entire life on Earth, Shen Lang had never earned so much money. Where's the formula? Lin Mo asked. Shen Lang handed over the secret prescription that he had written in his pocket. Lin Mo opened it and saw that there were only a few dozen words on it. He couldn't help but be stunned and said, So simple, Shen Lang? Yes, it's that simple. Lin Mo said. The cost isn't high. Shen Lang, yes, it's very low. There are many things in this world that are very simple after being pointed out. Boss Lin, do you think that 2,000 gold coins for a few dozen words is not worth it? No, it's very, very worth it. Lin Mo smiled. Shen Lang, Boss Lin, you can go and verify the formula in person now. You can make the golden dye in half an hour. After you're done, I'll leave with the gold coins. Lin Mo didn't ask the servants to do it. He prepared the materials himself and went to the kitchen in the backyard to verify the formula that Shen Lang gave him. Only an hour later, Lin Mo made the golden dye, which was even better than Shen Lang's. It's done. The Lin family is going to prosper. Lin Mo laughed. Shen Lang. Then, congratulations on defeating the Zhu family as soon as possible. Boss Lin. Goodbye. He held the 2,000 gold coins and was about to leave. Wait! Just then, a familiar voice came from outside. Then, 2 figures walked in. One was his ex-father-in-law, Zhu, and the other was his ex-wife, Zhu Qianqian. Immediately, Shen Lang's hair stood on end. Zhu looked at Shen Lang and said coldly, Shen Lang, I expelled you from the family. I don't blame you for holding a grudge, but you shouldn't have stolen the new formula that we developed. This is the lifeblood of the Zhu family. Not only did you commit the crime of theft, but you also offended the king. How should you punish yourself? The boss of the splendid court, Lin Mo, was surprised. Zhu, this formula was actually stolen by Shen Lang, Zhu said. Brother Lin, it's not like you haven't heard of this Shen Lang's previous reputation. He's as stupid as a pig, lazy, and a complete piece of trash. With his ability, how could he develop the golden dye? This formula was clearly developed by my Zhu family with countless financial and material resources, but in the end, this thief stole it. Why did I expel him from my Zhu family? It's because he stole and molested my maids. I've never seen such a despicable person before. Now, he actually deceived your brother Lin. Zhu Kaiqian said softly. If I'm not mistaken, he should have looked through my drawer and seen this formula, so he secretly memorized it. Shen Lang, I know you hate my Zhu family, but you shouldn't have committed such a crime. The boss of the splendid court, Lin Mo, bowed and said, I'm sorry, Zhu. I almost fell for this thief's trick. At that time, I was still bewildered in my heart. How could this Shen Lang be so stupid? So it turns out that he stole it. That's right. I'll report this to the authorities right now and ask them to come and capture this thief. Zhu's eyes were cold. He looked at Shen Lang and said, Tell me the truth here. Did you steal this golden dye formula from the Zhu family? You only have one chance to speak. Zhu Kaiqian said softly, Shen Lang, if you admit this crime, we won't care about this theft for the sake of our previous relationship. But if you insist on denying it, my father will be angry. Shen Lang's hair all stood up, and it took a few seconds for his pores to relax. Facing the situation in front of him, it wasn't that he didn't expect it, but when it really happened, it was still a little surprising. The Lin family had always been the Zhu family's competitor, and the enemy of an enemy was a friend. Not to mention that the new formula that Shen Lang brought to the Lin family was enough to cause a heavy blow to the Zhu family. But now it had become like this. Shen Lang calmed down as fast as he could and said to Lin Mo, Boss Lin, can we talk in private? Lin Mo nodded and said, No problem. Then, Lin Mo and Shen Lang went to the backyard. Shen Lang went straight to the point and asked, Did you call the Zhu clan head and Zhu Kaiqian over? Yes, Lin Mo said. Shen Lang asked, Why? Lin Mo said. I know that this formula will bring a huge blow to the Zhu family's business, but I still went to inform Zhu to come over and put the blame on you. Shen Lang didn't ask why and waited for his answer. Lin Mo said lightly, Shen Lang, for ordinary people like you, money is enough. But for us, money isn't the most important thing. Power and strength are the most important. Without power and strength, no matter how much money you have, you won't be able to keep it. You are just a pig waiting to be slaughtered. Shen Lang said, If your Lin family becomes the monarch's silk supplier, you will naturally have power. No, this power is too fleeting. Lin Mo said, My son is studying in the Tiannan Martial Arts Institute, and his results are very good. He will be participating in the military selection soon. His results in the military selection and what official position he will hold in the future are much more important than how much money my Lin family earns. Do you know about Zhu Kaiqian's new fiancée, Zhang Jin? New fiancée. So fast. The Zhu family had just driven Shen Lang out, and now Zhu Kaiqian and Zhang Jin were engaged? Lin Mo said, The Zhang family's backer is the Zhu family. You should know the Zhu family's weight in the country. The Zhu family was the state of Yu's top-notch aristocratic family. It was the monarch's maiden family, and Zhu Yong was the Tiannan province's governor. His power was overwhelming. However, Zhang Jin married Zhu Kaiqian, the daughter of a wealthy businessman. Besides her beauty, he probably fancied the Zhu family's wealth even more. Lin Mo said again, Zhang Jin's father has just been appointed as Nuzhong's prefectural governor. Zhang Jin's martial arts are excellent, and he has just been appointed as Xuanwu's city guards general. If I take away the Zhu family's business with my new formula, then I will offend the Zhang family. What about my son? Shen Lang said, Then you can just not buy my formula and pretend that nothing happened. Why did you sell me out? The boss of Splendid Court, Lin Mo said with a smile, You are just an insignificant nobody with no value at all. The only value is Lin Mo and the Zhu family's hatred towards you. I sold you out in exchange for a favor from the Zhu family, so why not? And now that this new formula is in my hands, I can share it with the Zhu family, and we can do business together. Shen Lang said, The Zhu family didn't put me in their eyes at all. They regarded me as an ant, and their hatred was not enough. But I sold you the new formula and took the opportunity to ruin the Zhu family's business, so their hatred suddenly came. That's right, Lin Mo said. So, the Zhu family owes me a bigger favor, and my son's future is more secure. Boss Lin, you are ruthless, I understand, Shen Lang said and then walked out directly. Back in the hall, several warriors of the Lin family and the Zhu family completely surrounded Shen Lang in the middle, and Tian Xianji stood on the side as if he was asleep, with his eyes closed. Moreover, several officials of Xuanwu City also came. One of the young officials was the registrar of Xuanwu City Management Bureau. Shen Lang couldn't help but stare at him. Zhu Kaiqian said softly. Shen Lang, tell these officials, did you steal the formula of this new dye? You did this because you were unwilling to be abandoned by me. If you admit your guilt now, we will not pursue it. We will just consider it as a moment of confusion. If you are stubborn, don't blame the Zhu family for being ruthless. She thought that it was impossible for an ignorant and incompetent person like Shen Lang to come up with this golden dye formula in any case, so he must have stolen it from somewhere. As for where he stole it from, it didn't matter. Anyway, it must be from the Zhu family. It was also because they were sure that it was impossible for people like Shen Lang to develop such a powerful new formula that the Zhu family felt assured to ask these officials to come. Ha 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 ha! Shen Lang suddenly burst into laughter. He originally planned to secretly plot against the Zhu family first, but he didn't expect that he would fall out with them now. Chapter 12. Shen Lang couldn't help but look at Tian Ziyangji again, because he represented the will of Tian Heng of the Black Man Gang. Just now, when Shen Lang was making the dye, Lin Mo of the Splendid Court betrayed him and sent someone to inform the Zhu family to come. Tian Ziyangji obviously saw it, but he didn't mean to stop it, nor did he remind Shen Lang. Therefore, at this time, Shen Lang was facing three behemoths: the Zhu family, the Lin family, and Tian Heng of the Black Man Gang. So now, the smartest thing for him was to admit that the formula was stolen, and then immediately carry out the great plan of upgrading by living off a woman. After he had power and power, he would retaliate crazily, because Zhu Kaiqian promised in front of the officials of Chuanwu City that if Shen Lang pleaded guilty, everything would be forgiven. She was a person who cherished her reputation. If Shen Lang pleaded guilty, she would definitely not make things difficult for him today. She would only spend money to let Tian Heng deal with him secretly. That way, at least Shen Lang would be safe today. But did he want to pour this basin of dirty water on Shen Lang's head and make him spit on his face? It was absolutely impossible. Shen Lang would never be so cowardly. Shen Lang looked at Zhu Kaiqian and asked, "You said that my new golden dye formula was stolen. What evidence do you have?" Zhu sneered and said, "You, Shen Lang, are just an ignorant and incompetent waste. My Zhu family has been in the silk and cloth business for decades. We are the best at dyeing. Kaiqian and I had put our blood, sweat, and tears into researching this golden dye. We had spent a lot of manpower, resources, and money on it. We had spent a few years on it. We had hidden this secret so that we could give the Emperor's weaving residents a surprise. However, I didn't expect you to be such a traitor. Not only did you steal my family's belongings, but you also molested my maid. You even stole the dye formula that was related to my family's lifeline." Then, Zhu said coldly, "Kaiqian, this new formula is so important. Why did you put it in the drawer?" Zhu Kaiqian said. "I'm sorry, father. I had complete trust in Shen Lang before. I had no idea that he would do such a thing." Then, she looked at Shen Lang. "When you were in the Zhu family, when some servants bullied you, I whipped them and ordered that anyone who dared to say anything bad about you would be kicked out of the house. No one in the Zhu family cares about you. I don't despise you for your low intelligence and stupidity. I come to talk to you every day. Why did you do such a thing? Even if you want to take revenge on me for abandoning you, you can take revenge on me personally. Why do you have to destroy the lifeline of my family? Besides, if you didn't do those shameful things, why would my Zhu family kick you out?" As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the officials present became slightly strange. However, they believed half of what Zhu and Zhu Kaiqian said. The Zhu family was indeed proficient in silk dyes. Otherwise, their silk wouldn't be specially supplied to the monarch weaving house. And they also heard of Shen Lang's reputation of being ignorant and incompetent. So, they firmly believed that this new formula was researched by the Zhu family and Shen Lang stole it. Shen Lang slowly said, "You have no evidence, and I also have no evidence. But everyone will believe that this new formula was researched by your Zhu family. It's hard for me to defend myself." Zhu laughed in his heart. "It's good that you know." This matter was really satisfying. Not only had he obtained a wonderful golden dye formula for free, he had also conveniently and justifiably sent Shen Lang to prison. Immediately, the Zhu clan leader said coldly, "The truth has been revealed. Arrest them. I don't believe that this trash won't confess under torture." "Why are you so anxious, Zhu?" Shen Lang said with a smile. "Although it's hard for me to defend myself, it's easy to prove this point." Then, Shen Lang looked at Zhu Kaiqian and said, "Miss Kaiqian, you are proficient in dyes. Then let me ask you, which color is the most difficult to dye? Zhu Kaiqian said. The most difficult color is, of course, purple. That's right. In ancient times, the most difficult color to dye was purple, not yellow. Of course, it wasn't impossible to dye purple. In ancient China, purple was first used as a purple dye, but the color was inferior. After that, purple was used to dye sea snails. Only then did purple look better. Kai Hengong liked to wear purple clothes. At that time, one purple cloth was worth 5 white cloth. It could be seen that it was expensive and rare. In the West, purple dyes were made by dyeing seashells. In ancient times, the last queen of the Tomac dynasty also liked this kind of purple. Not only her clothes, but even the sails of her ships were dyed purple. But whether it was dyeing seashells or seashells, the cost of extracting purple dyes was extremely shocking. Just 1 gram of dye required 300 seashells. Therefore, purple dyes were extremely rare and expensive in ancient times on Earth. At this time, in the world where Shen Lang was in, there was no way to extract purple from seashells and seashells. So where did purple dyes come from in this world? It was directly made by mixing blue and red dyes. But the dyeing effect was really not flattering because the 2 colors of dyes were not brilliant. Although there was purple when mixed, the effect was even more mixed. First of all, the dyeing was uneven. The color was stiff and clumsy. Most importantly, the fastness of the 2 dyes was not the same. Therefore, purple silk often faded easily. Shen Lang said, "Purple dyes are more difficult than yellow dyes, right?" Zhu Kaiqian said, "Of course." Purple dyes were regarded as an insurmountable problem in the cloth and silk industry of this world. Shen Lang said, "It is very simple to prove that I did not steal this golden dye. Let's solve the purple dye together. Your Zhu family will use all their resources to make purple dyes. I am only one person and I have no money. I will use the simplest and lowest cost to make purple dyes. Then, in front of the people present, we will see who can make the most beautiful purple. How about it?" As soon as this was said, several officials present nodded in agreement with this method. Zhu Kaiqian and Zhu looked at each other and nodded. This method was beneficial to the Zhu family. They didn't believe that Shen Lang knew how to dye. The Zhu family was the most professional. Shen Lang said, "If the purple dye I made at a low cost is better, what does that prove?" Zhu Kaiqian said. "That proves that you did not steal the golden dye formula and we wronged you." Shen Lang said, "Then when the time comes, Zhu will apologize to me." Zhu said coldly, "Let's talk about it after you win." Shen Lang said, "Okay, then let's set the time limit to 6 hours. After 6 hours, we will compete and the truth will be revealed." "Yes," one of the officials present said. Zhu said, "Go to the family immediately and select the best workers. Kaiqian will personally oversee and make the best purple dyes." "Yes," Zhu Kaiqian said. This time, the Zhu family was going to use all their resources. But Shen Lang was still alone. He said to Lin Mo, "Boss Lin, I need to borrow your kitchen again." "Of course," Lin Mo said. After Shen Lang entered the kitchen, he took out his secret weapon. The best source of purple dyes was the stone stamen lichen. This was a kind of moss that could be found everywhere. It was not valuable at all, but the purple dyes made from this material were the most vivid, lively, and beautiful. In the 18th century in England, Cuthbert accidentally discovered a moss plant that could make purple dyes, and the effect was extremely good. Since then, the purple dyes extracted from the stone stamen lichen had dominated the dyeing industry for more than 100 years. It was not until the chemical industry advanced by leaps and bounds that the cheaper synthetic purple dyes appeared. So why did Shen Lang prepare the stone stamen lichen in advance? Because this was his B-class dyes. It was better to be prepared. Although the possibility of Lin Mo betraying him was very small, it was not that he had not prepared for this before. So he secretly prepared a trump card, and now it was put to use. Shen Lang crushed the dried stone stamen lichen and boiled it with coal ash and urine. Soon, a pure purple was produced. Next, he used alum to brighten it. Soon, the cheap but beautiful purple dye was produced. Compared to the purple dyes in this world, it was much more brilliant. Then, Shen Lang picked up a piece of colorless silk and dyed it in the dye. After dyeing, he put it under the sun to dry. Soon, the purple silk appeared. What a wonderful purple, so bright and vivid, noble and meaningful. It completely defeated the purple silk in this world. However, Shen Lang wanted to do more than just purple. Just one purple was enough to defeat the Zhu family. but it would not feel good to slap their faces. He seized all the time and directly used the materials of Lin Mo's family to make 7 kinds of dyes. He wanted to dye the most gorgeous, most mysterious, and most magical rainbow silk. In other words, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and purple were dyed on the same piece of silk. If the dyeing method was fast enough and the movements were accurate enough, the rainbow silk produced would be extremely stunning and elegant. Although he was not a professional dyer, when he was in the Silk Museum, he played with it for 2 days. When Shen Lang married into the Zhu family, he saw workers dyeing cloth every day. The most important thing was that there was information in the alien laptop in Shen Lang's head, which clearly recorded every step and every material. Therefore, although he could not make the best and most professional, it was enough. 6 hours later, Shen Lang's purple silk and rainbow silk were all dyed. The purple silk was enough to defeat Zhu Kaiqian, and this rainbow silk was completely a trump card. It was unprecedented in this world, enough to crush the Zhu family's silk into pieces. Chapter 13. Shen Lang hadn't come out yet, but the purple silk dyed by the Zhu family had already been placed on the table. At this moment, the entire hall was lit with dozens of candles, making it as bright as day. Under the illumination of the countless candles, the purple silk was particularly eye-catching. The Zhu family's most outstanding dyer bowed and said, "Master, Miss, this is our new purple dye. It's no longer a mixture of blue and red, but extracted from a type of purple grass. We've always strived for perfection, so we haven't put it on the market yet. However, the dyeing effect is much better than before." Zhu, Lin Mo, and the others all looked at the purple silk in front of the candles. It was indeed much more vivid, a qualitative leap from the previous purple dye. Not only was the color much purer, but it was also much brighter. This was truly an excellent new purple dye. The Zhu family was going to make a fortune again. The young prison official carefully examined the silk in his hands and had to admit that this new purple dye was indeed excellent. Although he wasn't a noble, he was still from a prestigious family. He was especially fond of purple brocade and was very good at appreciating it. Zhu Kaiqian said, "Artisan Zhu, tell the lords about the new golden dye." The Zhu family's most outstanding dyer said, "Reporting to the lords, this lowly one's family has been doing dye work for generations, and this lowly one has loved to study it since childhood. In particular, yellow is specially made for the monarch, so this lowly one has invested most of his energy into yellow and purple. I've experimented with over 100 types of raw materials, and Huai rice is one of them. This lowly one's original records are here as proof." With that, he handed over a booklet. This young official in charge of Chunwu's prison was one of the several registrars of the city lord's mansion. He took the booklet and flipped through it. Sure enough, it was densely packed with all kinds of experimental recipes, including Huai rice. Moreover, the handwriting had been there for some time, so it wasn't fake. This Shen Lang used to be the son-in-law of the Zhu family. However, because of his low intelligence, he was looked down upon by others. I don't know why, but he actually came to my dye house to take a stroll. When I was experimenting with a new dye, he saw me, the dyer said. He wasn't completely lying. He did use locust rice to experiment with yellow dye, but he didn't know how to add alum to make it brighter. This was the most important step, and it couldn't be done without it. Because of the process, the color he extracted from the locust rice was not outstanding, so his recipe for the locust rice could be considered a failure. In the past, Shen Lang often strolled around the dye house, and it was true that he liked to look at these colorful things. Because of these reasons, Zhu and Zhu Kaiqian were absolutely confident that Shen Lang did not come up with the golden dye formula by himself. The two of them understood Shen Lang's abilities too well. He was just an imbecile, a good-for-nothing. Zhu said, "Sirs, now that the witness and the material evidence are here, can we arrest him?" Although he said sirs, his eyes were directly staring at the young registrar. If it weren't for this hothead, Shen Lang would have arrested him long ago. The young official looked at the booklet, then looked at the new purple silk in his hand, and couldn't help but nod. "It seems that it is true," he said lightly. "Men, go and capture Shen Lang." The Zhu family's patriarch shouted. Then, without waiting for the officials to act, the warriors of the Zhu family overstepped their authority and rushed in. At this time, the door of the backyard was pushed open, and Shen Lang walked out. Zhu said coldly, "Shen Lang, now that the witness and the material evidence are here, you can wait to go to jail. Shen Lang immediately looked at the young official, who said lightly, "All the evidence points to you stealing." Shen Lang looked at the purple silk on the table and couldn't help but be surprised. Is this the new purple dye of the Zhu family? Compared to before, how much better is it? The color is very pure and very bright. But, compared to the purple dye made by Shen Lang using the lichens, there is still a big gap. The purple dye made by the purple grass is too monotonous and a little pale, without spiritual energy. Shen Lang suddenly said with a smile, "Zhu Kaiqian, this purple silk in front of us is really the highest level of your Zhu family, right? You definitely didn't hide anything." "No," Zhu Kaiqian said. "Shen Lang, unless the purple dye you make is better than my family's, you are still a shameless thief. Not only did you steal the golden dye formula, but you also stole the new purple dye formula. It is really hard to guard against the thief in the family." Without saying a word, Shen Lang took out the purple silk he dyed and placed it in front of everyone. In an instant, Zhu and Lin Mo's eyes suddenly lit up. The two showed an expression of disbelief at first, and then their eyes became extremely greedy. The most terrible thing about anything is comparison. Just looking at the purple silk of the Zhu family, they thought it was good. But at this time, compared with the purple silk dyed by Shen Lang, the gap is completely obvious. Although the silk dyed by the Zhu family is very pure purple, it is too thin, cheap and gaudy. However, the purple dyed by Shen Lang is deep and smart, completely not on the same level. There is no need to judge the winner at all. It is completely obvious who is better at a glance. Shen Lang sneered. Zhu Kaiqian, my new purple dye is not stolen from your family again, is it?" Zhu and Zhu Kaiqian can't help but look at each other, extremely surprised. What is going on? Shen Lang has been living in her family for a few months. She knows him best. He is mentally retarded, ignorant, and incompetent, a complete waste who knows nothing. The reason why he can take out the golden dye formula before is entirely because he saw the countless experiments of the craftsman, plus the extremely accidental discovery of this kind of locust rice mixed with alum will produce a bright yellow color. This kind of thing is very coincidental, but also very normal. In the past hundreds of years, who knows how many brand new dye formulas were accidentally discovered. Therefore, this competition should be won for sure. Originally, the Zhu family could directly use their connections and martial artists to directly arrest Shen Lang and put him in prison. But this young registrar is actually a hothead. He actually spoke up to stop it, and insisted on giving Shen Lang a chance to defend himself. Of course, the Zhu family is not afraid of a registrar, but the other party is also considered to be from a prestigious family and is in charge of the prison. Today's matter can be considered as the home court of the registrar. Therefore, the Zhu family has to give Shen Lang a chance to compete, and Zhu Kaiqian knows Shen Lang too well. He absolutely can't win. Zhu Kaiqian's idea was originally right, but she has no idea that the previous stupid Shen Lang is already dead, and the Shen Lang in front of her is the soul of an earthling who time-traveled to this world. Shen Lang sneered. Could it be that the color of this piece of silk isn't clear enough? Then what about this one? Then he took out his trump card, the rainbow silk. Under the illumination of the countless candlelight, the rainbow silk was magnificent and breathtaking. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. How is this possible? It is too gorgeous, too spiritual. It is colorful, but not the slightest bit gaudy. And the key point is that the transition of color is so natural. If it was said that the violet-colored silk Shen Lang took out earlier was a great victory, then this brand new rainbow-colored silk completely crushed it, and it caused the violet-colored silk of the Zhu clan to seem extremely tacky and unsightly. Shen Lang asked with a smile, Zhu Kaiqian, did I also steal the new dye formula of my rainbow silk from the Zhu family? There seems to be a slap in the face in the air. Zhu and Zhu Kaiqian look at Shen Lang in surprise. Did they miss something for this son-in-law? He is so proficient in dyeing, why doesn't Zhu Kaiqian know anything about it? This kind of dyeing technique may not be very useful for other families, but it is very useful for the Zhu family, which can completely make the Zhu family's business rise to a higher level. In ancient times, silk is almost the same. The key is dyeing. Once the color technique far surpasses the competitors, the silk and cloth business will be invincible. They originally thought that Shen Lang is a complete waste, but they didn't expect him to have such a unique and superb skill. They really didn't expect it. Shen Lang said to the young official, Lord Registrar, please uphold justice. The young bookkeeper looked at the Zhu family's patriarch and said, Please confirm if Shen Lang stole the purple dye and the rainbow silk dye from the Zhu family. Instantly, Zhu's face twitched. This young official registrar was really a hothead. When he left the city lord's mansion, didn't his superior give him an obvious hint? Zhu Kaiqian's fiancé is the prefectural governor's son. Do you want to lose your future by offending the Zhang family? Patriarch Zhu glanced at the young registrar with resentment in his heart. He really wanted to drive him away and dismiss him. But that also needs to be done behind the scenes, or at least the prefectural governor. Moreover, as a businessman, he can't be rude to a registrar. No, Zhu said coldly. The young registrar looked at Zhu Kaiqian and said, Miss Zhu, what do you think? Did Shen Lang steal the formula for the purple dye and the rainbow dye from your house? Zhu Kaiqian's beautiful eyes narrowed. She could see that this young registrar is not only a hothead, but he is also hostile to the Zhu family. Does he have a grudge against the Zhu family? Or does he have a grudge against Zhang Jin? How dare this young registrar go against the prefectural governors and laws? No, Zhu Kaiqian said indifferently. Since that's not the case, then Shen Lang is innocent. The young registrar official said, Patriarch Zhu, young Miss Zhu, please apologize to Shen Lang. Zhu was about to explode with anger. He snorted coldly, swung his sleeves and left directly. Zhu Kaiqian's expression changed a few times, and then she bowed slightly to Shen Lang and said, I'm sorry, because of some misunderstandings before, so I have wronged you. Goodbye. Then, her graceful figure also left leisurely. She had decided to ask Zhang Jin to take revenge on this young registrar after going back. No officials who are hostile to the Zhu family are allowed to exist in Xuanwu City. After Zhu Kaiqian left, Shen Lang bowed to the young registrar and said, Thank you, registrar. Long time no see. How are you? How are you these years? How is Miss Jin of Xuanwu Mansion? Chapter 14. This young registrar of Xuanwu City was named Wang Lion. He was 21 years old this year. He became the registrar of Xuanwu City after he passed the imperial examination. Of course, he didn't give up the imperial examination. He was studying while he was an official, preparing for the imperial examination. In ancient China, this was not possible. At most, he could be an advisor and prepare for the imperial examination. But in this world, it was possible. He was not a native of Xuanwu City. His home was in Nanyuan County. But he was famous for his talent, even in Xuanwu City. He also had another identity, and that was a distant relative of the Black Tortoise Earl Manor. In that case, did Shen Lang know this registrar official? Yes, he did. 3 years ago, he taught Shen Lang how to read, and he taught him for about half a month. Furthermore, this story also involved one person. It was the #1 beauty within a radius of several hundred miles. She was the dream lover of all the young men, the daughter of the Black Tortoise Countess, Jin Mulan. She was known as the Princess of Black Tortoise City. At that time, Jin Mulan led a group of people to hunt. When she came to the mountain behind Shen Lang's house, she encountered a big black bear. Her horse was frightened and directly rushed out. At that time, Shen Lang was a nerd with low intelligence. He squatted in the middle of the road, holding an enlightenment book in his hand and reading it while shaking his head. Why did he squat in the middle of the road? Because there was a group of ants moving here. He was not counting the ants, but he was worried that the ants would be trampled to death. So he stayed here and waited for the ants to finish moving and leave. Once someone passed by, he would remind them to go around. Jin Mulan's frightened horse rushed directly to Shen Lang. Behind it, a huge black bear madly chased it, with more than a dozen arrows stuck in its body. It seemed that Shen Lang was about to be trampled into meat paste by the horse. This young miss of the Black Tortoise Count's mansion quickly dismounted from her horse and stood on the ground. She used one hand to pull a large, startled horse to the ground, saving Shen Lang's little life. Not only that, but the black bear behind her still rushed over, its huge bear claws smashing towards Jin Mulan's head. Jin Mulan grabbed the warhorse with one hand and swung her sword with the other, chopping off the head of the giant bear. Her strength was simply too awesome. At that time, the imbecile, Shen Lang, was grazed by the horse's hoof and fainted. He wasn't heavily injured, but he fainted from fright. Therefore, this memory was unforgettable, but it was also a little vague. Moreover, at that time, Miss Jin Mulan was wearing armor from head to toe, and the visor had covered her face. That imbecile Shen Lang had no idea that she was the daughter of the Count House. When Shen Lang read the memory, He recognized the woman as Jin Mulan based on her silver armor and the emblem on the team's flag and shield. Jin Mulan saved Shen Lang's life, but Shen Lang was scratched by her warhorse after all, so she would take responsibility until the end. Therefore, she sent a doctor and some tonics from the count house to treat Shen Lang. She even personally visited Shen Lang once, but at that time, Shen Lang was unconscious, so she didn't see him. Jin Mulan was the princess of Xuanwu City. She was superior and much nobler than Zhu Kaiqian. At that time, Shen Lang was just like an ant. Not to mention scratching Shen Lang, her warhorse deserved to trample him to death. However, this noble daughter not only sent someone to treat him, but also visited him personally. Therefore, it was true that Xuanwu Mansion loved its people like their own children. At that time, Wang Lion had just passed the imperial examinations and hadn't become a registrar yet. Because he was a distant relative of the count house, he came to visit the count house. Of course, even if he was a distant relative, he rarely had the chance to interact with Miss Jin Mulan. Although he was a newly promoted imperial examinations, his status was still far from Jin Mulan's, and he was very fond of Jin Mulan. After hearing about this, he found out that Jin Mulan had come to visit Shen Lang, so he specially went to Shen Lang's house to express his condolences. When he found out that Shen Lang was still studying in the town school, he personally taught Shen Lang how to read. If Jin Mulan came to visit Shen Lang and saw this scene, she would definitely have a deep impression of Wang Lion. Of course, at that time, Shen Lang was as stupid as a block of wood, so he couldn't teach him at all. Wang Lion was so talented that he passed the imperial examinations at the age of 18. He had never seen a person as stupid as Shen Lang. He persisted for half a month, but Jin Mulan never came to Shen Lang's house again because she was on a military mission. Therefore, Wang Lion gave up and didn't go to Shen Lang's house to teach him. Teaching an idiot like Shen Lang was simply torture. But he and Shen Lang were indeed old friends. When they met again this time, Wang Lion had grown a short beard and was wearing an official's uniform. In addition, there were only a few people in Shen Lang's memory that were relatively clear, so it took him a while to remember this person. It was precisely because of this that Shen Lang dared to request a competition with the Zhu clan, and he even took out the violet and rainbow-colored dyes, because he knew that this young registrar had a grudge against Jiang Jin. When he was teaching Shen Lang to read, Wang Lion cursed Jiang Jin more than 10 times. Everything was in plan. Hearing Shen Lang calling him brother, the registrar frowned slightly. The registrar frowned slightly and did not answer Shen Lang's question. Instead, he said, "You should have been studying, but you chose to dabble and die. Aren't you abandoning yourself?" This was not prejudice. In this world, there were two noblest skills. One was reading, and the other was practicing martial arts. They were almost equal. After the Song dynasty in ancient China, the literati basically suppressed the martial artists. The literati were noble and the martial artists were lowly. However, in this world, in the Great Yan dynasty, the literati and the martial artists were equally noble, and they were the absolute ruling class. The martial and the literati were equally noble, and they were the absolute ruling class. But being a dye craftsman was completely a lowly job. Just now, the master dye craftsman of the Zhu family was already extremely outstanding, but he didn't have a name from beginning to end. He was just called Craftsman Zhu. Of course, this registrar was just saying. At that time, in order to please Miss Jin Mulan, he taught Shen Lang to read for half a month. He still remembered that Shen Lang was as stupid as a pig. Such a person couldn't be a county scholar even if he studied for 100 years. Reading was a waste of time, life, and money. As for Miss Jin of the count house, the young registrar, Wang Lion, turned his head and glanced at Shen Lang, saying, "She is the daughter of a noble family with 100 years of history. She is very noble, so her name is not something that you, a country bumpkin, can call." After that, Wang Lion turned and left. When he turned back, his face showed disdain. The reason why he was against the Zhu family just now was that he had a grudge with Jiang Jin. He took the opportunity to suppress the Zhu family, not because of his friendship with Shen Lang. Although he taught Shen Lang to read for half a month, in his heart, there was no friendship at all. Ridiculous country bumpkin. You even want to take the opportunity to build a relationship with me. You are really wishful thinking, shallow and ignorant. The young registrar, Wang Lion, sneered in his heart, and then directly rode back to the mansion. Shen Lang saw clearly from behind that the registrar didn't like him at all, and didn't want to build a relationship with him. Of course, he was not surprised. After the registrar, Wang Lion, left, the boss of the splendid court, Lin Mo, said, "Shen Lang, you won. You slapped the Zhu family hard in the face, but it was better to lose. Now you are even more miserable." Tian Xianji of the Black Clothes Gang said lightly. "Shen Lang, you are finished," Lin Mo said. "The registrar is just hostile to the Zhu family, so he suppressed them, not to protect you. So if you encounter any trouble or danger in the future, he is not willing to help you at all. You are out of his league." Shen Lang knew all this. The registrar, Wang Lion, was young and vigorous and came from a famous family. Of course, he wouldn't put a poor country bumpkin in his eyes. According to the previous memory, Shen Lang knew enough about him. But it was enough to use him to suppress the Zhu family today. Shen Lang didn't expect to build a relationship with him at all. And soon, Shen Lang would become Wang Lion's rival in love. So, Shen Lang's family was not out of danger, and even fell into a more dangerous situation. Now the Zhu family wanted to kill him even more. He was just buying time. He only needed 1 day to carry out his reversal plan. Once he succeeded, he could completely reverse the situation, and even surpass everyone. At that time, the Zhu family, the Lin family, and Tian Heng would not be able to hurt him, and they would be afraid that Shen Lang would come to suppress them. And this day depended on the value of the rainbow dye, which was the reason why he dyed the rainbow silk just now. This rainbow silk must be stunning enough to show great value, and must make the Zhu family drool. If there was no accident, Zhu Kaiqian would come back to him soon. Today's matter was indeed dangerous, but it was basically all within his calculation. Sure enough, not long after Shen Lang left Lin Mo's splendid court, Zhu Kaiqian appeared, and her carriage appeared in front of him. "Shen Lang, I underestimated you before," Zhu Kaiqian said softly. "I didn't expect that you would learn to die for me. You are really considerate. Why didn't you tell me before?" It was normal for her to think like this. Before, Shen Lang was really obsessed with Zhu Kaiqian and was willing to give everything for her. And the Zhu family was in the cloth and silk business. So in Zhu Kaiqian's view, it was reasonable for Shen Lang to specially learn to dye in order to please her and to be a useful person. And the skill of dye may not be able to be a smart person. It needs a stupid person with a one-track mind, countless experiments, and finally find the perfect formula. If you had said it earlier, I wouldn't have had to drive you out of the house. Zhu Kaiqian's voice became more gentle, and she said, "Our marriage is fake. I want to marry Child of Zhang Jin. But you can still go back to the Zhu family to be a guest. What do you think?" Shen Lang didn't say anything. Zhu Kaiqian's eyes were soft, and she said softly, "Shen Lang, I will give you 10 gold coins every month, enough for you to support your family. As long as you hand over the formula of the purple and rainbow dyes, I can prepare the best dyeing house for you, so that you can devote yourself to the dyeing process and become the best craftsman. Don't you love me very much? Aren't you willing to give everything for me? In this way, you can help me." Chapter 15. Zhu Kaiqian really thought highly of herself. "I can abandon you and trample on you, but you still want to be infatuated with me as usual. When you are useless to Shen Lang, I will kick you out of the house. When you are useful, you will enter my house and work like a cow or a horse." Shen Lang didn't say anything and directly turned to leave. Zhu Kaiqian said, "Shen Lang, even if you know how to dye, it won't change anything. You are still the same as before. Don't think that you are amazing just because you won against my family's dyers. There are dozens of dyers in my family, but none of them even have a name." What she said was true. The so-called dyers were just lowly servants. Technology was the first productive force, and it wasn't popular in this world. Therefore, even if Shen Lang knew how to make dyes, in the eyes of Zhu Kaiqian, he was just a country bumpkin. Even if he was super handsome, he was just a lowly person. "You don't know how to study, you don't know how to practice martial arts, you don't know anything. Other than entering my family's dyeing house, you won't be able to find a single meal." Zhu Kaiqian said, "And don't forget, you still owe Tian Heng 1,000 gold coins. If Lin Mo didn't buy Shen Lang's new dyeing formula, the Zhu family would definitely not be able to get the 1,000 gold coins by force." At this moment, Tian Xianji appeared in front of Shen Lang like a ghost and said, "I will still say the same thing. If I don't get the 1,000 gold coins by tonight, I will kill your entire family. My black cloth gang means what they say." Zhu Kaiqian said softly, "Shen Lang, you are already at a dead end. There is only less than a day. Where are you going to earn 1,000 gold coins? The only way to survive is to rely on my family and unconditionally offer the two dying formulas. This way, I can let Tian Heng forgive your debt. Tian Zhangji said, "It's almost dawn. We'll go to your house tonight to get the money. You don't have much time left. There's less than 14 hours left." Zhu Kaiqian said, "Shen Lang, are you expecting Wang Lion? It's impossible for him to save you again. Besides, he didn't do it to save you today. He just suppressed my Zhu family because he has a grudge with my fiancée, Zhang Jin. He won't care about your life or death." Zhu Kaiqian was right. Tian Zhangji said, "Shen Lang, don't worry. Our Black Cloth Gang will arrest your entire family with a fair and just crime. Then, we will find a random reason to make you disappear halfway. Your family is an outsider. It's really like rootless duckweed." Zhu Kaiqian said, "If the Zhu family doesn't see the purple and rainbow dyes before nightfall, I really can't guarantee what will happen. The Black Cloth Gang has always been ruthless. Shen Lang, your brain isn't good, but you have to be smart on this matter." Then, Zhu Kaiqian boarded the carriage and left directly. Tian Zhangji turned back and said, "Before the sun goes down, we will go to your house to get the money." Then, he put the knife on his waist on his shoulder and walked away slowly. He didn't need to follow Shen Lang anymore because Shen Lang was extremely filial. As long as he kept an eye on his parents and brother, Shen Lang wouldn't be able to go anywhere. During the whole process, Shen Lang didn't say a word. He just quietly watched the couple's performance. After walking for dozens of meters, Zhu Kaiqian opened the curtain on the carriage and looked at the lonely Shen Lang in the middle of the street. Suddenly, she burst out laughing. "Being weak is really a sin. You really look like a dog. Shen Lang, with your identity, it's a great gift to be able to enter my family as a servant. Otherwise, an incompetent person like you can only starve to death." Zhu Kaiqian would only say these words when there was no one around. Otherwise, it would hurt her temperament and make her seem mean. Shen Lang stood in the middle of the street. Earning money was completely meaningless to him now. No matter how much money he made, without the protection of power and power, it would only bring disaster. This was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. The Zhu family, the Lin family, and Tian Heng's Black Clothes Gang. Any one of these three forces was a giant for Shen Lang. Tian Heng and the Zhu family would definitely take action tonight. They would use the lives of his parents and brother to force Shen Lang to hand over the two dyes. And even if Shen Lang handed them over, unless he worked as a servant in the Zhu family for the rest of his life and continued to develop new dyes, his family would not be at peace. He had to solve this problem once and for all. Originally, he wanted to wait until his plan to live off a woman was more mature. He needed to do some foreshadowing and publicity. Now it seemed that he had to do it in advance. Shen Lang rehearsed this plan in his mind over and over again. At this time, the sky was about to brighten. It was almost time. Shen Lang had to hurry out of the city and go to the top places of the rich and powerful within hundreds of miles. Xuanwu Mansion. However, at this time, there was a sudden fierce sound of horse hooves behind him, tearing up the silence before dawn. Even the whole ground was slightly shaking. Shen Lang turned around and saw a cavalry team. This was an elite cavalry. There were more than 100 of them. Each of the knights was wearing armor, riding tall horses, holding a big sword and carrying a big shield. Shen Lang could almost see at a glance how much money it took to build this cavalry. This kind of cavalry, whether in the ancient times of China or the Middle Ages of the West, could be regarded as the absolute trump card. What kind of family could have such elite cavalry and such a show of extravagance? Soon, Shen Lang saw the flag of the cavalry and the insignia on the shield. This was the cavalry of Xuanwu Mansion. The Kim family of Xuanwu Mansion was a real century-old aristocratic family. 300 years ago, the Kim family guarded Xuanwu City. Even the name of Xuanwu City came from the name of the Kim family. To some extent, Count Xuanwu was the owner of Xuanwu City. The leader of this cavalry was wearing silver armor. He was tall and slender. Because of the helmet that covered his face, only two eyes were exposed. But these two eyes that were only revealed were as cold as the autumn water sword. It was a woman, and a woman with extremely beautiful eyes. Although he didn't see her face, the identity of this woman was clear. She was the legendary goddess within hundreds of miles, the princess of Xuanwu City, the dream lover of countless young men, and the pillar of Xuanwu Mansion, Jin Mulan. Shen Lang was a little surprised. He originally wanted to go to Count House, But he didn't expect to meet her here. Move, move. Make way, make way. Clear the street, clear the street. The two warriors in front of the cavalry were holding flags and shouting loudly to drive away Shen Lang, who was standing in the middle of the street. If Shen Lang was hit by this cavalry, all his bones and tendons would be broken, and he would die miserably. He quickly retreated to the side of the street to make way for the cavalry. However, when Shen Lang was about to leave the street, he suddenly tripped on purpose and slowed down, because he added a small plan at the last minute. Bang! A cavalry at the edge of this team directly brushed past Shen Lang, and the huge force directly knocked Shen Lang's body away. He was blackmailing. Wife, you hit me once 3 years ago. Why don't you hit me again and then take me home? Shen Lang thought to himself. Then, his body flew a few meters away and fell to the ground. He was not a professional blackmailer, but this time, his strength, angle, and timing were perfect. After falling to the ground, because he was not seriously injured, he bit his gums hard, causing blood to flow out of the corner of his mouth. At this time, he must act pitiful. Jin Mulin's eyes narrowed, and then she raised her hand. Suddenly, more than 100 cavalrymen stopped in a very short distance. The two cavalrymen in front immediately dismounted and went forward to check on Shen Lang's injury. Unexpectedly, Jin Mulin was faster than them. Her whole body jumped directly from the horse and bounced more than 10 meters in the air. Shen Lang was shocked. So powerful. Jin Mulin walked in front of Shen Lang and squatted down. She took off her gloves and put her hand on Shen Lang's nostrils to test his breath. This young man is so handsome, and he looks a little familiar. That was her first thought. Shen Lang's injury was not serious. Of course, his breathing was steady and strong. However, he was a doctor. He easily pretended to be on the verge of death. Coupled with the blood at the corner of his mouth, he looked really pitiful. Jin Mulin's beautiful eyes trembled. The entire Xuanwu city was her family's people. Since she was young, her father taught her to love the people as if they were her own children. Although the civilians deserved to be killed for blocking the army's way, Jin Mulin would never allow an innocent civilian to die in front of her. General, I will send him to the nearest medical center for treatment. The servant next to him said, Please don't. Shen Lang thought to himself. Wife, bring me home. Jin Mulin shook her head and said, No, ordinary medical centers are not safe. The doctors in the count house are better. Bring him back to the mansion for treatment. We can't let an innocent civilian die under our hooves. Wow, her voice was also very pleasant. It was as clear as ice falling into a lake. Yes, her attendant replied. Then he lightly lifted Shen Lang up and lightly stepped on the stirrup to mount the horse. Jin Mulan's servant was also a woman. However, she was more muscular than the average man. Shen Lang was a little embarrassed to be carried in her arms like a princess. He still had to pretend to be unconscious. Let's go back, Jin Mulin ordered. Then, she led the cavalry back to Xuanwu Mansion. The injured and pretty boy, Shen Lang, was brought home by the princess of Xuanwu City, Jin Mulin. Shen Rishan, it's time to decide your fate. Shen Lang tried his best to cheer himself up. Whether you can save your whole family this time, whether you can kill the Zhu family, whether you can kill Chan Heng, whether you can live a good life in the future, it all depends on your next performance. Chapter 16. Xuanwu Mansion was not located in the city. It had its own manor and castle, which was more than 20 miles away from Xuanwu City. Shen Lang had only seen the castle from afar, and he was shocked by its magnificence. However, he was not qualified to enter the castle due to his status. The Zhu family was rich and could be considered as a local tyrant in Xuanwu City. However, Zhu could only enter the castle 2 or 3 times a year, and at most, it was received by the housekeeper. The Zhu family's manor was large and rich enough, but it was nothing compared to the count house in front of him. The Kim family's count was a real fief, which was completely different from those nobles who only had titles. In the past hundreds of years, the largest fief of Count Xuanwu was more than 5,000 square kilometers. Later, because of the political turmoil, the Great Yan dynasty and the state of Yu had carried out a series of political reforms, so now the fief of Count Xuanwu was much smaller. Even so, Count Xuanwu was still the supreme ruler of Xuanwu City. Xuanwu Mansion's manor was more than thousands of acres, with its own fields, breeding farms, orchards, wineries, and so on. The castle stood on a mountain 200 or 300 meters high, with an area of more than 100,000 square meters. The city wall was taller and thicker than Xuanwu City, and the garrison was also larger than that of Xuanwu City. Therefore, if a war broke out and Xuanwu City was lost, this territory would not fall. Once the castle of the Black Tortoise Earl Manor was lost, this region would truly fall into enemy hands. At this time, Shen Lang entered the castle, which had a history of hundreds of miles, for the first time. It was the noblest building in the whole Nuzhong prefecture. The young miss of the Black Tortoise Count's mansion, Jin Mulan, had taken off her silver armor, leaving only the tight-fitting snakeskin outfit on her body. It made her devilish figure even more alluring. Her perky breasts and round buttocks looked like they were about to burst out of her clothes. She practiced martial arts all year round, so she was taller than ordinary men. Her long legs were unparalleled, full of absolute strength and beauty. His figure was slender and fit, and his curves were so impressive that no one could look at him directly. Stripping off the snakeskin on her body, Mulan's hot body walked into the huge bath. Every time he led an army back, the most comfortable thing was to soak in a hot bath. After bathing, she put on a man's outfit and went to visit her parents. Dressed in men's clothing, he appeared even more valiant, beautiful, and elegant. "Greetings, father, mother," Jin Mulan bowed. The Count House's study wasn't that magnificent, but every object inside had a history of 100 years, extremely exquisite and restrained. Most of the books here were over 100 years old. Count Xuanwu, Jinzhuo, was in his 50s. He was handsome and had a gentle temperament. Occasionally, his gaze was like a sword that could pierce through people's hearts. He was a martial artist, and his martial arts cultivation was very high. However, most of the time, he did not carry a sword. Instead, he held a scroll in his hand all year round. He had a high position and authority, but he rarely wore embroidered clothes. Most of the time, he was either wearing cotton clothes or linen clothes. He also rarely wore gold and silver. The only thing that looked noble was the jade pendant on his waist. "Mulan is back? How was the martial arts practice?" Count Xuanwu asked. Jin Mulan said, "Not bad. I didn't embarrass the Kim clan." Count Xuanwu laughed. "If you say not bad, then it's very good." He looked at his daughter with a very loving gaze, but also very complicated. He sighed softly. "If your brother was 30% as valiant as you, my Xuanwu mansion wouldn't have to worry about having no successors." "What a pity," Jin Mulan said. "Father, is the situation very bad?" "Very bad," Count Xuanwu said. "The whole Great Yan dynasty is implementing new policies, and my state of Yu is no exception. The will of the monarch is very clear. The replacement of the old and the new forces will accelerate, and the old aristocrats will be stripped of their fiefdoms and military power. In such a turbulent time, the successor of my Black Tortoise Count's estate is so incompetent. I'm afraid it's going to ruin the foundation of my Jin clan that's lasted for a few hundred years. How would I have the face to see my ancestors after I die?" Speaking of his son, Lord Count really hated him to the point of gnashing his teeth. He was too useless. Jin Mulan said, "As long as my daughter is here, my Xuanwu mansion will not collapse." She was not boasting. Today, she was indeed the pillar of the whole Count house. She was the greatest pride of her parents. But a woman would always marry. Jin Mulan was already 22 years old. "I will not marry for life. I will stay at home to help my brother and protect the 100 years of foundation of my Kim family." Jin Mulan said in a cold voice, "Whoever wants me to marry will destroy the livelihood of our Count house. He will be the enemy of our family." The atmosphere between the three was very heavy. Their daughter had sacrificed so much for the family. It made the Count couple sad. They couldn't even say words of comfort. After a while, Count Xuanwu changed the topic. "When you came back today, your cavalry injured a person on the street of Xuanwu City." "Yes," Jin Mulan said. Count Xuanwu said, "Treat him well. After he is cured, give him a sum of money and send him home. Especially at this time, our family needs a good reputation." At this time, the voice of the Count's servant was heard outside the door. "Master, Signorin wants to see you." "Let him in," Count Xuanwu said. After a while, an old man walked in. He was one of the 3 doctors of the Count house. After Jin Mulan brought Shen Lang back to the Count house, he was responsible for the treatment. "Master." The old doctor bowed and said, "The young man who was hit has woken up. He is fine." Jin Mulan was stunned. "Wasn't the young man seriously injured?" "That's good," Count Xuanwu said, but he was a little surprised. Was there a need to report such a small matter to the Count? It was more than enough to let the housekeeper deal with this matter. After the young man woke up, he wanted to see Master Count. See me? Count Xuanwu was stunned. This young man was too arrogant. Even the officials of Xuanwu City didn't dare to see him, let alone an ordinary young man. Doctor and said, he said he has something very important to tell Master Count. It's related to mismarriage. Count Xuanwu couldn't help but frown. He nodded and said, if he is fine, let him see me. Shen Lang's body was indeed fine, but his muscles and bones were injured. It was a little difficult for him to walk, because he stayed up all night. His face was a little pale. After arriving at Count Xuanwu's study, he bowed and said, Student Shen Lang greets Master Count. He was a citizen of Xuanwu City. To some extent, he was also a citizen of Count Xuanwu. Therefore, he should kneel. However, Shen Lang came from modern Earth, so he certainly didn't want to kneel to anyone. Count Xuanwu's face didn't look kind, but he didn't pretend to be dignified. His eyes fell on Shen Lang's face, and he was quite surprised by his handsomeness. He was really a very beautiful young man. It was rare to see such a face in the countryside. Student, Count Xuanwu said, what official rank do you have? I know all the civil and military officials in Xuanwu City, but I have never heard of the name Shen Lang. Shen Lang said, I'm a student of the school in Coldwater Town. When saying this, Shen Lang felt a little embarrassed. The school in Coldwater Town was completely an elementary education. It was almost equivalent to a primary school in modern Earth. It was a bit shameful to say that he didn't even graduate from the school in Coldwater Town. He was directly kicked out. Count Xuanwu frowned and said, You have soft skin and tender flesh. Your parents must love you very much and let you concentrate on studying. However, at this age, you didn't even enter the school in Xuanwu City. It's really unfilial. At this time, Count did have some disdain for Shen Lang. His son was already ignorant and useless, but he was much better than the young man in front of him. As soon as these words came out, Shen Lang had a little good impression of Count. He could clearly feel that Count regarded everyone in Xuanwu City as his own people. When he heard that Shen Lang's studies were not good, he immediately reprimanded him on behalf of his parents. You were injured by the cavalry of my mansion. Is your body okay? Asked Count. Shen Lang said, My body is fine, but my muscles and bones are a little painful. Count said, You said that you have something important to tell me. It's related to my daughter's marriage. Tell me. Shen Lang said, I heard that the Zhu family wants to propose to you. Zhu Hongsu wants to marry Miss Jin Mulan of the Count House. This was a secret. Almost no one knew about it. All of a sudden, the Earl's expression changed drastically. Zhu family. The top dignitaries of the state of Yu, the in-laws of the monarch, the governor of Tianan province, and the general were all from the Zhu family. Once Jin Mulan married, who would guard the Count House? Who would command the private army of the Kim family? Someone wanted to dig the roots of the Xuanwu mansion and break the pillars of the family. Chapter 17. After a while, Count Xuanwu calmed down and said, The Zhu family's marriage proposal is very secretive. Even I don't know about it. How did you know? Who did you hear it from? That's right. The gazes of everyone present turned towards Shen Lang. Given his lowly status, how could he know about such a secretive matter? Shen Lang said, The new fiancé of the Zhu family's daughter, Zhang Jin. Zhang Jin, Count Xuanwu said, the new leader of Xuanwu City's garrison. Yes, that's him, Shen Lang said. When I married into the Zhu family, I was driven out by Zhu Kaianqian. Her new fiancé, Zhang Jin, said that he wanted to hold the wedding as soon as possible because the Zhu clan wanted to propose to your family. Zhu Hongsu wanted to marry Miss Jin Mulan. At that time, he thought I was an idiot and let my guard down, so he let it slip. Afterwards, he also instructed Zhu Kaianqian not to leak it. At this time, the Count House's confidant whispered something in the Count's ear. Obviously, he told Shen Lang's identity and background. In Xuanwu City, Shen Lang was a celebrity. At a time when no one dared to marry into the Zhu family, he, Shen Lang, stepped forward bravely, and his name rose to fame in the Black Warrior City. Everyone knew that a fool became the son-in-law of the Zhu family. All of Shen Lang's family's assets were dug out, including the fact that he studied for nearly 10 years, but didn't even finish the basic course, and that his IQ was quite low, etc. Just 2 days ago, the Zhu family announced that Shen Lang, the son-in-law was expelled from the Zhu family for stealing family property and molesting a maid, Count's confidant said. His voice was a little louder, presumably to deliberately let Shen Lang hear. Hearing this, Count Xuanwu suddenly frowned. Whether or not Shen Lang stole the Zhu family's wealth and molested a maid of the Zhu family, it was hard to say. Count didn't believe it. However, Shen Lang had been studying for close to 10 years, yet he hadn't even completed his elementary education in the town school before he was chased home. It was safe to say that he was ignorant and incompetent. Moreover, in everyone's opinion, the reason why Shen Lang was willing to marry into the Zhu family was because of his vanity. Count hated young people who were lazy and greedy, so he didn't have a good impression of Shen Lang. If it was at any other time, he would definitely teach Shen Lang a lesson. However, at this moment, he couldn't care about that anymore. Because what Shen Lang told him was too important, and it was directly related to the fate of the Count's estate. Moreover, he immediately judged that what Shen Lang said was basically true. The Zhang family was a new noble family in the state of Yu, and their backer was the Zhu family. Zhang Jin's father, Zhang Chong, had just been appointed as the governor of Nizhang Prefecture, and it was all because of the recommendation of Zhu Yong, the governor of Channan Province. Therefore, it was not surprising that Zhang Jin knew the secret of the Zhu family. Regarding Zhang Jin, Black Tortoise Count Jin Zhuo had a good understanding of him. Even the nobles in Black Tortoise City were a little surprised. How short of money was this Zhang family? A dignified prefecture governor's son actually married a rich merchant's daughter. Moreover, this daughter had even taken in a son-in-law. Jin Zhuo and Count could understand. The Zhang family rose too fast, and their foundation was not stable. If they wanted to continue to grow, they needed a lot of money. However, everyone's eyes were on the Zhang family, so they couldn't be greedy. So, it was very necessary to find a super rich in-law. Therefore, the marriage between the Zhang family and the Zhu family was a typical combination of power and money. Immediately send a few teams to investigate the official roads. Once they find the people of the Zhu family, immediately come back and report. Count ordered. Now, the most important thing is to know, where are the people of the Zhu family? Yes, a confidant ran out. He would personally take people to investigate the people of the Zhu family. Then, Count said to Shen Lang, "Young man, I don't have a good impression of you. But the matter you told me is very important, and you have made a great contribution. I will certainly reward you. Tell me what you want, as long as it doesn't violate the laws of the state. As long as it doesn't violate the moral standards, I will agree to it." Shen Lang's good impression of this Count suddenly increased again. This was called being cool. The matter hadn't been verified yet, but he was already giving a reward. The meaning of Count's words was very clear. No matter how much money or how much land Shen Lang wanted, he only needed to open his mouth and say a number. Moreover, no matter what trouble Shen Lang had, the Count was willing to solve it. In other words, the crisis that the Zhu family, the Lin family, and Chan Hang had against Shen Lang could be solved in an instant. As long as the Count sent someone to pass a message, these three families would not dare to touch even a hair of Shen Lang. However, what Shen Lang wanted was not just this. Such an important chip was only used to solve this crisis. It was only used to deal with the Zhu family and Tian Hang. It was too cheap. He wanted to take the opportunity to stay in the Count house, and then find a way to get close to Jin Mulan. He wanted to keep showing off his existence, and finally marry the goddess. Shen Lang swore that with his talent and handsome face, he would be able to leave a deep impression on the goddess in half a month. "I want to stay in the Count house and ask for a job." Shen Lang bowed. He didn't mention that the Zhu family and Tian Hang wanted to kill him, because there was no need to mention it. As long as he stayed in the Count house and got a job, these two families naturally wouldn't dare to touch his family. After the Count house heard this, they immediately frowned. They didn't have a good impression of Shen Lang before. Shen Lang was a lazy young man. Not only did he not study hard, but he also became the son-in-law of the Zhu family. This was greed and vanity. It was a huge unfilial act. Moreover, the Count house felt that Shen Lang wanted to stay in the Count house with bad intentions. In fact, the Count's eyes were very sharp. However, since he said it, he would definitely agree. Moreover, Shen Lang was still young. Even if he had any bad habits, he would be able to turn over a new leaf under the strict discipline of the Count house. The Count said, "Since you want to get a job in the Count house, I can promise you. Also, you have done a great job in reporting the news, so I will never let you be a servant. But The count's tone became severe. But you definitely didn't come to my count's mansion to enjoy a comfortable life. I won't let you be lazy either. Instead, I'll discipline you very strictly. Can you bear this hardship? Endure hardship? In that case, forget it. The thing that Shen Lang hated the most in his life was to endure hardships and fatigue. But for the goddess, he could endure hardship for a few days. Of course, it would only be for a few days. Yes, of course, Shen Lang agreed. Then, the count stepped forward and pinched Shen Lang's shoulder. He shook his head and said, "Your physical fitness is too poor, and you are too old to practice martial arts. At this age, you should study hard to have a bright future. From now on, you will follow the prince to study. Your parents will spoil you, but the count house will not. We will make sure to polish you well." Shen Lang couldn't help but be stunned. Isn't this the senior study companion in Tang Bo Hu? Well, your body is still injured. Go and rest first. Tomorrow, you will follow the prince to study. I will send someone to inform your parents and send them a sum of gold coins. The count said, "If you have any trouble, I will also solve it." Look, the big shots are always so generous. Yes, Master Count, Shen Lang said. The count's wife said, "Jin Zhong, go to the tailor and measure Shen Lang's body. Make some new clothes." Yes, the old servant said. Shen Lang felt a burst of warmth in his heart. The count and his wife were really good people. "Master Count, Madam, Miss, I will take my leave first." Shen Lang bowed and then left. However, before he could reach the door, a man rushed in. It was the count's confidant. He had just led a group of people to the official road to find out where the Zhu family had gone. In less than a quarter of an hour, he came back in a hurry. "Master, something bad has happened." The confidant knelt down and said, "Our spies in Nuzhong County City have just sent a messenger pigeon. A big shot of the Zhu clan has arrived in Nuzhong City last night, and he is heading towards our Black Tortoise Count's mansion." "What?" the count exclaimed. "What?" Shen Lang exclaimed in his heart. "That's going to kill me." He had successfully carried out the first step, which was to stay in the count house. In the next few days, he would carry out the second step, which was to constantly show off his presence. And then the third step, which was to find a way to marry into the count house. Yes, marry into the count house. Because the current situation was very simple. It was absolutely impossible for Jin Mulin to marry into the count house. However, the big shot from the Zhu family had already arrived in Nuzhong County. Tonight, he would go to the Xuanwu mansion to ask for Jin Mulan's hand in marriage. In other words, there was no time. There was not enough time to show off his presence. Damn, he didn't give me half a month, 3 days, or even 1 day. In other words, Jin Mulan was going to get married today, which left Shen Lang with only 2 or 3 hours. Otherwise, his goddess would belong to someone else, and his wealth would fly away. No, the goddess is mine. Chapter 18. Shen Lang's brain was working very fast. Countless plans flashed through his mind. At this time, the door in front of him was directly closed, leaving him outside. This was normal, because the Lord Count was going to discuss a secret matter. After all, Shen Lang was just an outsider, so it was impossible for him to participate. "Who is the person from the Zhu family?" the Lord Count asked. "Governor Zhu Yung's younger brother, Great General Zhu Lin," the confidant said, and then handed over a secret letter from Nuzhong City. The Lord Count read the letter, and his face turned pale. It turned out to be Great General Zhu Lin. This was not good. This meant that the Zhu family was determined to win the marriage. Moreover, the marriage proposal could have been done openly, but General Zhu Lin came secretly. It was obvious that he wanted to catch the count house unprepared. He didn't want to give the Kim clan any chance to refuse. Zhu Hongsu's marriage proposal to Jin Mulan was not an ordinary marriage. He wanted to implement a new policy. If they wanted to seize the land and military power of the Xuanwu mansion, what was the most important thing? To make the count house lose their general? And the count house's prince was a good-for-nothing idiot, so it was impossible for him to protect the family. Once Jin Mulan married Zhu Hongsu, it would be like destroying the count house's pillar, and indirectly taking away the military power of the count house. The Lord Count's wife said in a trembling voice, "Husband, can we refuse?" The Lord Count shook his head and said, "No, the Zhu family is a giant. If we refuse openly, it will be the same as turning against them. Moreover, this proposal may have the intention of the monarch behind it." Jin Mulan said, "I will not marry out. I must stay at home and help my brother." I must protect the Kim family's 100 years of foundation. Whoever wants to take it away will have to step over my dead body." The Lord Count gasped and frowned. He paced back and forth in the room anxiously. Jin Mulan said, "Father, I can destroy my own face." Then, she pulled out a dagger. As soon as Lord Count gave the order, she would cut her beautiful face into pieces. "No," Count Xuanwu resolutely said. "It's true that I want to protect the family's 100 years of foundation. But first I want to protect my daughter from harm. Moreover, even if you disfigure yourself, the Zhu clan will still propose to you, unless," Jin Milan said, "unless I get married today and recruit a son-in-law into my family. Moreover, I have to bow to the heaven and earth before General Zhu Lin arrives. That way, he will know that it's impossible for him to propose to me." That's right, this was the only way. Even an engagement wouldn't work, because there was no such thing as an engagement for a son-in-law. General Zhu Lin was less than 200 miles away from Chuanwu Mansion, and he would arrive there tonight. Even if he was looking for a son-in-law, Count Chuanwu had intended to choose carefully. They were getting married tonight, which meant that the wedding invitations had to be sent out before noon. Within 2 hours, the son-in-law had to be chosen. Looking at his beautiful and strong daughter, Count Xuanwu's heart softened. He said, "Mulan, the Zhu clan is like the sun in the sky. That Zhu Hongsu also has a bright future. He is an excellent son-in-law. As a father, I can't sacrifice your happiness for the sake of the family. Why don't you reconsider?" Miss Jin Mulan of the Count House said, "Father, being able to contribute to the family is my greatest happiness. After you pass away, my younger brother will certainly not be able to protect the family's foundation. I will never marry." Lord Count suddenly felt very distressed and touched. He picked up a pen and ink and wrote down 5 names on a piece of white paper. These 5 people were all very outstanding youths. They were also the best candidates for son-in-law in the eyes of Lord Count. Lord Count loved his daughter very much. 3 years ago, he had started looking for a husband for her. But after all, it was difficult to bring up the matter. More importantly, Jin Mulan had always refused. Now that time was pressing. He had to make a decision as soon as possible. The first name among the 5 candidates for son-in-law was Wang Lion. He was a young talent who passed the imperial examination at the age of 18. He was now the registrar of Chuanwu City and a distant relative of the Count House. The second name was Mo Yi. He was a martial arts genius in Chuanwu City. At the age of 16, he passed the imperial examination. He was diligently practicing martial arts, preparing to take the imperial examination. Both of them were youths with boundless prospects. The remaining 3 were the young elites of the Count's mansion. They were talented in both literature and martial arts. They had been nurtured by the Jin family since they were young, and their loyalty to the Count's mansion was unquestionable. These 5 people admired Jin Mulan very much. They dreamed of marrying her. To be precise, all the young people within a few hundred miles regarded Jin Mulan as their dream lover. "Jin Zhang, send someone to find these 5 people as soon as possible. Let Mulan choose." Lord Count gave the list to a loyal servant. Count felt sorry for his daughter, so he only decided on 5 candidates. But the final decision was still given to Mulan. Yes, after Jin Zhang took the list, he put it in his arms, walked out the door, and sent a dozen knights to find the 5 people. Lord Count said, "Mulan, although time is running out, I will find the best candidate for you. I will make you happy for the rest of your life. These 5 young people are very good. Choose one." At this time, Shen Lang came in and said, "Lord Count, Miss Mulan, can I join the competition? I want to marry you too." When these words came out, everyone in the room was stunned. They couldn't react for a while. It was really unexpected. The Black Tortoise Earl couldn't hold it in any longer. He was about to explode. Not only Lord Count, but the other people in the room also looked at Shen Lang as if they wanted to tear him into pieces. Just you? You also want to marry the daughter of the Count House? Your appearance is definitely enough, but you are so handsome that you are more suitable to be a gigolo. What kind of family do you have? You are just a poor farmer who lives in a thatched hut. Of course, a person can't choose his family background. If you are good enough, Lord Count can also consider you. After all, it is difficult for a son-in-law to be born into a rich family. But Shen Lang, look at yourself in the mirror. After studying for 10 years, he couldn't even graduate from the town school and was directly kicked out. In the future on Earth, this is equivalent to a professional student. At the age of 18, you still haven't graduated from primary school. You were born into a poor family, but you can't do anything. You are lazy, a waste. Everyone in the Black Warrior City knew that there was something wrong with Shen Lang's head. His intelligence was low. Compared to the 5 candidates listed by Lord Count, you, Shen Lang, are really worthless. Those 5 young elites are either brimming with literary talent or have outstanding martial arts skills. You, Shen Lang, are completely useless. The most intolerable thing is that you, Shen Lang, are greedy for wealth and abandon your parents to marry into the Zhu family. Now that you have been kicked out by the Zhu family and abandoned by Zhu Kainqian, you still want to marry the daughter of the Count House. What do you think the Count House is? How much more noble is the daughter of the Count Xuanwu than Zhu Kainqian? Even if you are looking for a son-in-law, you still have to select a lot of people. You are really a toad that wants to eat swan meat. The Count's wife came forward to comfort her husband's back and softly said, "Husband, don't be angry. Everyone said that this Shen Lang has a problem with his brain. Moreover, he is still a child. Why should we lower ourselves to his level?" The Black Tortoise Earl let out a long sigh. Yes, this is a person with a problem with his brain. Moreover, he is still a child. Why should the Count care about him? Men, send this slut home first. Also, give him 10 gold coins. Remember to give them to his parents. Don't give them to him. The Earl said, "Tomorrow, send someone to bring him to the mansion to study and discipline him well." Yes, 2 warriors came forward and grabbed Shen Lang's arm and dragged him out. Shen Lang, Miss Mulan, I believe that I am far more suitable than those 5 people to be your husband. Don't tell me that I don't even have the qualifications to compete. Jin Mulan looked at Shen Lang and looked at him for a long time before she said, "I remember now. 3 years ago, when I went hunting, I accidentally bumped into you while riding my horse. You're second fool. Hey, goddess, your words are too blunt and hurtful." Yes, no one in the village called Shen Lang by his name. Everyone called him second dumb, because there was a big fool in the village. He was Shen Lang's only friend at that time. At that time, Jin Mulan's horse accidentally hit Shen Lang. She immediately picked him up and asked the people in the village what his name was and where he lived. The answer was that he was second dumb. Hearing the name second dumb, the Count's face couldn't help but twitch. Shen Lang. Miss Mulan, I also want to marry you. I will not let you down. Jin Mulan looked at Shen Lang with a gentle gaze, even a little gentle. 3 years ago, he heard the story of Shen Lang and knew that he was a mentally retarded person. He was very sympathetic to him. He visited him several times and sent the best doctor to treat him. In short, Jin Mulan looked at him as if he was a child. At that time, Shen Lang's ick was equivalent to that of a child. Mulan was disappointed with the deception in the adult world, but she was very kind to children. Therefore, Jin Mulan looked at Shen Lang. Okay, I will add you to the list. You can also compete fairly. Others might discriminate against Shen Lang, but she didn't. Count was about to stop her father, but Jin Mulan smiled and said, "Father, what are you worried about?" Count laughed at himself. Yes, what am I worried about? Mulan was just kind and sympathetic, so she included Shen Lang in the list of candidates. It was impossible for her to choose him, so there was no need to worry about it. Someone, take Shen Lang to the 6th study room, Count ordered. An hour later, the other 5 young men were taken to the Xuanwu mansion. They were taken to 5 different study rooms. Shen Lang was in the 6th study room. They didn't see each other, so they didn't know each other. Jin Mulan met them personally to choose them. Time was running out. They had to choose before noon, and they had to get married in the evening. They only had 2 hours to choose one of them to be Jin Mulan's husband. Mulan walked into the study room, and the Count House officially began. Chapter 19. Amongst these 6 youths, Shen Lang's competitiveness could be said to be the weakest. In fact, he didn't even have any competitiveness at all. The seated candidate was Wang Lion. He was a distant relative of the Xuanwu mansion. The young registrar was sitting in the study room. He was nervous, and excited. Of course, he knew what he was here for. He had been waiting for this day for many years. He was obviously not from Nuzhong County, and he should have stayed at home to focus on studying and preparing for the Jinshi examination. But he came to Black Tortoise City and became the registrar of the penal prison. He didn't like this job at all, and he only had one purpose, and that was the pavilion closest to the water enjoys moonlight first. Of course, he knew that Jin Mulan would not marry out of the family. She would only look for a son-in-law. But he did not care. He was not the only son in his family. His other two brothers had passed the martial exam and the literary exam. He had been fascinated by Mulan since he was a child. Moreover, it was a century-old noble family. Even if he became a son-in-law, he could enjoy endless wealth and great power. The prince of the count house was incompetent, so the power of the count house would be in the hands of Jin Mulan. As her husband, he would undoubtedly share the highest power of the whole count house. It was a fief of thousands of square kilometers, a private army of 2,000, and an astronomical amount of wealth. Therefore, Wang Lion was determined to get the position of Jin Mulan's husband. Except for Mo Yi, who passed the martial exam, no one else could threaten him. Moreover, Jin Mulan was very good at martial arts. Therefore, he needed a husband who was a scholar. Only in this way could they complement each other. Wang Lion firmly believed that he would win this competition. Of course, he was not the only one who thought so. Almost everyone thought so, especially the trusted subordinate of the count house, Jin Zhang. He brought Wang Lion here personally. In his mind, he even regarded Wang Lion as the future son-in-law of the count house. Jin Mulan walked into the first study room. There was a screen between her and Wang Lion. Sensing the arrival of the beautiful woman, Wang Lion's breathing quickened instinctively. He was so nervous that he could not control himself. Very soon, he would become Mulan's husband, and very soon, he would share a bed with this beautiful body. His long-cherished wish of more than 10 years was finally going to come true. Wang Lion, what can you bring me in the future? Jin Mulan asked. Wang Lion suppressed his excitement and said, after we get married, I will take the Jinshi examination. From now on, you'll be in charge of martial arts, and I'll be in charge of culture. You and I will complement each other. We'll definitely manage Xuanwu Mansion more prosperous, and we'll definitely carry forward the century-old foundation of the Kim family and pass it on from generation to generation. Wang Lion felt that this was what Jin Mulan wanted the most. Yes, the prosperity of Xuanwu Mansion and the inheritance of the century-old foundation of her ancestors were indeed Mulan's lifelong pursuit. Thank you, cousin, Jin Mulan said. Then, she walked out. Jin Mulan came to the second room, where Mo Yi, who had passed the martial exam, was. Mo Yi's kung fu was very high, and he looked very calm. When Jin Mulan came in, his breathing did not change, but his heart beat a little faster. His desire for Jin Mulan was no less than Wang Lion's. He was a martial exam candidate, but he was also from an ordinary family. His kung fu was very high, but it seemed that he had reached a bottleneck. Therefore, he needed a lot of resources, including a large number of ancient kung fu books, which couldn't be bought with money. As a century-old rich family, the Kim family was especially rich in this area. Moreover, with Jin Mulan's beauty and figure, no man could refuse her. Mr. Mo, if you marry into the count house, what can you bring me in the future? Jin Mulan asked the same question. Mo Yi said, I will take the martial exam and become the best in the world. I will lead the army of the count house to battle all over the world. I will continue to make contributions, and the status and power of the Kim family will rise to the next level. Thank you, Mr. Mo. Jin Mulan stood up and walked out. After that, Jin Mulan went to the third, fourth, and fifth study rooms. She asked the same question. If you marry into the count house, what can you bring me in the future? The answers of the three were almost the same. Loyalty. They were willing to die for Miss Mulan, and they would not hesitate to go through fire and water for her. This was because the three of them had been trained by the count house since they were young. That was their only answer. Jin Mulan entered the last room. Through a screen, Shen Lang could feel Jin Mulan's breath. It was a very pleasant, very strong scent of a woman. Shen Lang focused on his eyes and saw the outline of Jin Mulan's body through the screen. His gaze once again fell on the unspeakable place on her chest. 36E suddenly, his heartbeat accelerated again. Shen Lang, if you marry into the count house, what can you bring me in the future? Jin Mulan asked. What? Shen Lang asked. You're really an idiot. Jin Mulan laughed in her heart. Then, she asked gently, what is the most precious thing you can give me? My virginity, Shen Lang said instinctively. Of course, he could only say this in his heart. If he dared to say it out loud, he would be beaten to death. So, how should he answer this question? Of course, Shen Lang could give her a lot. For example, I am a very good gynecologist. If you have a few days of pain every month, Mulan, I can help you treat it. Another example, I know the secret method of smelting steel. I can improve the steel of the Count House to a higher level. I can make the armor of the Kim clan's private army stronger and their swords sharper. Another example, my eyes are very good. Mulan, if your tendons and veins are blocked, I know where to unblock them. He could even imagine how the 5 people before him would answer. Wang Lion would definitely say that he and Jin Mulan could complement each other in terms of knowledge and martial arts. They would make the Count House more prosperous and let the century-old foundation of the Kim family be passed down from generation to generation. Mo Yi would definitely say that he wanted to train his martial arts to a high level. Then, he would lead the army of the Count House to a higher level. He would make great contributions and let the Kim family's foundation rise to a higher level. He might even be promoted to a marquis. As for the other 3, they were all trained by the Count House. So, they would definitely say that they were willing to devote their loyalty. So, how should Shen Lang answer? What was Jin Mulan's deepest desire? Hearing that Shen Lang didn't answer, Jin Mulan said, "It doesn't matter. Take your time to think about it and answer slowly." "There's no hurry?" Jin Mulan's voice was very cold to others, but she was instinctively gentle to Shen Lang. However, her tone was really like talking to a child with low intelligence. She was afraid that it would scare him. Shen Lang thought for 2 minutes and then found an answer. "The most precious thing I can give you is freedom. As long as you don't steal my man, you can do whatever you want," Shen Lang said. As soon as he said that, Jin Mulan was stunned. Then, she glared at Shen Lang through the screen. She wanted to rush over and beat him up. "What do you mean by stealing my man? Am I, Jin Mulan, such a shameless woman?" But she didn't feel so upset. What a fool. He doesn't have any thoughts. Then, Jin Mulan walked out. Behind the screen, Shen Lang showed a proud smile. If there was no accident, he had already won 60%. Why did Jin Mulan ask this question? She was testing whether these 6 men had ambition or not. The heir of the Count House was not promising. So, after Count Jinzhuo passed away, the power of the entire Count House would fall into the hands of Jin Mulan. Of course, she would wholeheartedly assist her brother. What was she most afraid of? Would her husband have ambition to covet the power of the Count House and even murder her brother? If that happened, she would be the center of the Kim family. Her future husband's talent was secondary. The most important thing was that he must not have ambition to avoid trouble. But Wang Lion and Mo Yi were so arrogant, as if they wanted to govern the Count House together with Jin Mulan. Jin Mulan was very worried. "Since you two are so arrogant, why don't I give you the position of Count House?" Therefore, Shen Lang's answer was to show that he had no ambition. This was the most correct answer. This was what Jin Mulan wanted the most. Jin Mulan returned to her father's hall. At this time, the Count and Madame were waiting anxiously. When they saw her, they couldn't help but ask, "So fast?" Yes, in less than a quarter of an hour, Jin Mulan had finished choosing. "Daughter, have you chosen your husband?" Madame Count said. "If you have chosen, I will immediately send more than a dozen people to send invitations. You will get married tonight." Jin Mulan said, "I have chosen." Madame Count got up and asked, "Who is it? Wang Lion or Mo Yi?" Jin Mulan said, "The husband I've chosen is Shen Lang." Chapter 20. What? After hearing Jin Mulan's words, the Count's hair almost stood up. The Count's wife thought that she had heard it wrong. The Count's confidants and aides were also completely shocked. "Mulan, are you crazy?" the Earl said. "The others are so outstanding, but you didn't choose them. You actually chose Shen Lang?" Everyone looked at Jin Mulan in disbelief. Among the 6 people, Shen Lang was the worst. Not to mention Wang Lion and Mo Yi. He couldn't even be compared to the 5 outstanding talents of the Count House. He couldn't even be compared to an ordinary person. He was an idiot with low intelligence. After studying for 10 years, he couldn't even graduate from the village school. He couldn't even take care of himself. "Mulan, why?" the Count said. "Wang Lion and Mo Yi are so outstanding. Why didn't you choose one of them?" Jin Mulan said. "Father, these 2 people are very outstanding. I asked them what they can bring me in the future. One of them said that he wants to complement me in governing the Count House. The other one said that he is outstanding and wants to lead the army of the Count House." The Count didn't say anything when he heard this. The others thought that there was no problem with this answer. Mulan said, "If father is still alive, of course there is no problem. One day when you are gone, my brother will inherit the position of the Count. What should I do if my husband has ambitions for the power of the count house? What about my brother? When this came out, the count suddenly became more silent. The people around him also suddenly understood. It has to be said that Mulan was very thoughtful and absolutely loyal to the family. Jin Mulan said, Shen Lang's answer is to give me freedom. As long as I don't cheat, I can do anything. What kind of person do you think the daughter of the count house is? The count was angry and said, Mulan, father knows what you are thinking. But you don't have to do this. Even if you don't choose Wang Lion and Mo Yi, you can choose one of the 3 young men in the count house. No, I can't hold them back, Jin Mulan said. Besides, they used to be my subordinates. I'm too familiar with them. The count's wife said, But this Shen Lang is too bad. You don't know his reputation in Xuanwu. The count said, He used to be the son-in-law of the Zhu family. After he was expelled, he immediately married into the count house. How can we, the Kim family, raise our heads? This concerns the happiness of your entire life. I would rather you marry a proud son of heaven like Zhu Hongsu than sacrifice you for the sake of the family and push you into a pit of fire. Jin Mulan said, Shen Lang's reputation is very bad. Isn't this a good way for Zhu Lin to vent his anger? If I marry a good person, I'm afraid the Zhu family will not let it go. If I marry a person with a bad reputation, the Zhu family's resentment towards us will be reduced. After all, it is always a happy thing to see the enemy suffer. This was very reasonable. Mulan was very smart and understood people's minds. Jin Mulan said, I think Shen Lang is very good. In fact, I only have one requirement for my future husband, and that is to be good-looking. In this regard, Shen Lang is worthy of being number 1. But, the count's wife's heart felt as if it was being cut by a knife. Her son was not promising, so she had to sacrifice her daughter's happiness. What kind of sin did the Xuanwu Kim family commit? The count said, Mulan, why don't you think about it again? No, it's settled. Jin Mulan said, time is pressing. Father, immediately send out the wedding invitations. Prepare for the wedding immediately. Try to make the ceremony as grand as possible. It would be best if Zhu Lin can attend the wedding when he arrives at the count house. Father, Mother, I have been leading the army these days. I'm a little tired. I'm going to rest now. Then she bowed and left the room. The count's heart was very uncomfortable, but he couldn't vent his anger. He couldn't vent his anger on Shen Lang, so he could only vent his anger on his own son. What about that unfilial son? The count roared. The prince is reading a book. The advisor said. What's there to read? He has been studying for more than 10 years, but he's still a waste. The count angrily said, If he had made progress, why would my Mulan make such a big sacrifice? Yes, his trusted aide hurriedly left. No, I'll go by myself. The count said, Where's the whip? I must whip him hard today. Husband. The count's wife said. Are you going to stop me? The count's wife asked. I'll go with you, the count's wife said. At the same time, in another study room, a fat man was immersed in his studies. He was secretly moved. As a prince of the count house, I'm so hardworking. I woke up at dawn to study. My parents will be very happy to see me. Suddenly, the count's wife and the Xuanwu mansion rushed in. The fat man said, Father, Mother, you came to see me. I just woke up early to study. You came to praise me. This is what a son should do. As a prince of the Xuanwu mansion, I should be so hardworking. Praise, the count's wife suddenly pulled out the whip. After a while, there was a burst of miserable screams coming from the count house. Father, Mother, why are you beating me? I didn't do anything wrong today. I woke up early to study. Do we need a reason to beat you? The count's wife said and continued to whip. The count's wife took a ruler and whipped her son's butt and thigh. Yes, do we need a reason to beat you? Ah, the prince of the count house screamed. Sister, save me, save me. After knowing the result, Shen Lang let out a long sigh of relief. He had finally succeeded. From one son-in-law to another son-in-law. From then on, he would be able to live a luxurious life. What else in the world could be better than living off a woman? Nothing. He was originally facing a desperate situation. The Zhu family, the Lin family, and Tian Heng had joined forces to kill him. Now, this crisis had been completely wiped out. After he became the son-in-law of the Black Tortoise Earl's mansion. No matter if it was the Zhu family, the Lin family, or Tian Heng, no matter how bold they were, they would not dare to make a move against him and his family. Just you wait. I, Shen Lang, will let you know what revenge is. Tian Heng, the Lin family, and the Zhu family, I will not let any of them go. If I don't destroy your family, I will not be Shen Lang. The Count's henchman, Jin Zhong, stood in front of Shen Lang. His face was gloomy as if someone owed him 1,000 gold coins. Jin Zhong had been living in the Xuanwu mansion since he was born. He was not only a servant, but also a family member. He was the most loyal person of the Kim family. Moreover, he had watched Miss Jin Mulan grow up. Now, this phoenix was forced to marry this piece of trash. How could he not be angry? After all, he was a loyal servant of the aristocratic family. So, even if he was very angry, even if he despised Shen Lang, he would not speak rudely. His attitude was cold but polite. Shen Shusheng, come with me. I will take you to the guest room. Then, Shen Lang followed him. After walking for more than 10 minutes, they arrived at the guest room. He only had one sentence in his mind. This count house is really fucking big. Even the richest person on earth didn't have such a big mansion. Oh, please send someone to my house. Tell my parents not to worry, Shen Lang said. I've already sent someone to inform them, Jin Zhong said coldly. Shen Lang said again, can you bring my parents and brother to the wedding tonight? I will personally bring someone to bring your family here, Jin Zhong said. Then he closed the door and left. He didn't want to look at Shen Lang's face for even half a minute. Shen Lang said, I'll have to trouble you to hurry up because someone is plotting against my family. Jin Zhong's eyes turned cold. No matter how useless Shen Lang was, he was still the son-in-law of the count house. Now, there was someone in Chuanwu who wanted to harm Shen Lang's family. Did they eat a bear's heart or a leopard's gall? Got it. I will ensure your family's safety. Shen Shusheng, rest well. Prepare for the wedding ceremony tonight. At the same time, in the Black Man gang, Tian Heng said calmly, it's almost time. 13. Bring someone to capture Shen Lang and his family. If he hands over the dye formula, kill them. If not, kill them painfully. Yes, Tian Ziyangji said. Then, he rushed out of the Black Man gang with more than 10 warriors and headed in the direction of Shen Lang's house.